Oh, well, hello, my wonderful, beautiful bruskis and bruskis, my wonderful, beautiful Maverick Nation. And well, here I am, the Dark Side Maverick, here with What If Izuku Was a Villain? And the next MHA What If is kind of not just an MHA one, but also other one, but it's also a vigilante one. It's like a ship and a vigilante. But that's not this one, it's the one after this one. But they're both like MHA stories. But this one's coming first. And the other one I think is going to be more of my Lagiacrus one. It's kind of like my other channel I had, the Lagiacrus What If, where I kind of just did whatever felt like I wanted to do. And so I'm going to use like the that thing to do just that. Whatever I want to do. So basically, the story is basically going to start out with Izuku not being on a, firstborn, and said he is the secondborn. In fact, 10 years later, that's how secondborn he is. Izuku is born whenever the firstborn character is 10 years old. That making him 10 years older than Izuku. This firstborn of Inko and Hisashi Midoriya is Mikira Midoriya. However, it seems that Mikira also is quirkless. But, well, it's believed that he has another power. Kids just think it's a quirk, but they're like, it can't be a quirk, he's quirkless. Therefore, he has no power. And so Mikira would be like, none of them believe in magic. Sorry, Frisk, Chara, Azrael, I tried. Yes, Mikira would have been born with a dual determination soul. Basically, before Frisk and Chara died, they basically merged their souls together, creating a dual determination soul. And since their souls are kind of like the most powerful ones, next to Azrael's miracle soul, they kind of just became a magnet for every other, like, monster. Basically every friend that Frisk and Chara had made over the entire Undertale journey. And, like, mentioned person, even. So, like, Azrael and Gaster. So, yeah, basically, they all just, like, culminated into, like, one big thing. One big pool of magic that, of friends that just keeps on giving. A gift that keeps on giving. And, well, you hear a voice say, "It's alright. Just because they don't believe doesn't mean you don't have to feel bad about it." And then hear another voice, "Yeah, besides, they probably suck. Well, besides your mom and dad." And then you hear a third voice say, "I don't know, I get some off vibes from your dad, Makiru. I hope he's not gonna think of anything bad." And little did Azrael know how right he was. Because later that night, because of Makiru's deep beliefs of these things that neither Inko or Hisashi could see, Hisashi would become blinded in rage and attack Inko, or at least he would try to, but Makiru would get in the way, even if Hisashi had tried to use his quirk. It would only affect him, not Inko. This would actually happen several times. So really, it wasn't speculation from Azrael, it was just like a warning. That came off as speculation. But Makiru knew better than to take things at first value. And not long after this, he would see a lonely boy with no one to play with. He looked oddly roughed up and scratchy all over. He decided to use one of the powers that he got from having so many magical friends. Shortcut. And he shortcutted himself all the way over next to his person who would become probably his most cherished friend, one of his most cherished friends in the future. Tenko Shimura. At first, Tenko seemed frightened by Makiru and all the different things he could do. But then, after Makiru just told him, just lose yourself in it, man. Just as Makira would look, he would see that Tenko too had a red determination soul, though it wasn't a dual soul like his. After looking at his soul, Tenko would be able to see things that he hadn't seen before. These friends that Makira said that he had. Frisk, Chara, and Azrael. And well, Makira would be like, "Come on, Tenko. You don't think that these leaf piles are just here for nothing, right? Crinkle!" As then Makira would just decide to crinkle in the leaves. And Tenko would be confused until he saw that the other three were crinkling in the leaves. Azrael slightly hesitating a little bit more before he decides to crinkle in the leaves as well. And so Tenko decides to do the same. And that day, a friendship was formed that would last quite a while. However, one day, All Might would be fighting a bird creature. And in the midst of their two attacks colliding, All Might, to finish off this bird creature, there was a car in the way. It had basically stuck itself in a ditch on accident. In the path of these two different powerful, well, I think you get the picture. But the person inside, or people inside, the Bakugos, with Katsuki Bakugo having not been born yet. Or basically, just now been born, seeing as Izuku had just now been born. And they were stuck in a ditch. With All Might and the Nomu's attacks about to collide with them. And well, Tenko basically like, "Oh god, they're going to die." And Makira being like, "Not if I can handle it. Not if I can handle it." And Tenko being like, "Wait, you can't do that. That's a pro hero. You'll get like arrested or something." And Makira just being like, "Don't worry about it, man." And then shortcut. And then just straight in the middle of All Might and the Nomu. And it just discharges some sort of quirk, like black hole thing. Not like 13's quirk, but like a literal black hole of quirk energy that just sucks everything up, like all of the damage that would have been done. And basically, my character would fall to the ground unconscious. And however, the moment that the black hole would have basically been dispelled, the dispelling of the black hole would be so violent that it would rip the Nomu to shreds so hard that it wouldn't be able to regenerate. And All Might would try to keep this in mind for a later date. And then he would realize he was releasing steam from his body. he would call someone up on contacts. Cementos, get here now. And basically, Cementos would go over there and use his quirk to cover All Might's frame as he was distransforming from his buff form. Because All Might knew that if anybody saw what he was actually like, things would not be good for the heroes. But secretly, Mikira was not actually unconscious. Just, it was hard for him to be able to move anything. Although he could look up and see everything that was going on. It was like, yeah, something was happening. And Cementos could have been using his time for good hero work. So, he basically called him up to save his publicity ass. However, All Might, we're not actually gonna act like All Might couldn't hear this. And so, All Might basically decides, if you're gonna try to act like that, to complete this game. Little did All Might know that, yes, definitely, 2 can play at this game, asshole. Because, well, basically, All Might and, President Mike and, well, Eraserhead and Gran Torino and Principal Nasu of UA basically showing up at the Midoriya's doorstep, basically saying that there was an incident and that they believe that even though their child may have a quirk because of said incident, that it is very unstable, and so allow them to help with that. However, Mitsuki, who was out, doing things, basically saw All Might's smile of victory whenever, Inko signed all the papers to basically have Mikiru, put in the custody of the heroes. Mitsuki would be like, just secretly in her head, be like, Inko, what are you doing? And basically, it'd be a very silent ride over to wherever Mikira was being taken over to. As before he would be inside the vehicle, he would see Tanko as he was being, taken away by All For One in the shadows so that none of its heroes would see him. And they would have this one look at each other as Tanko would feel 3 pairs of arms around him, saying, "Don't go, he needs you." And he would know that these were Frisk, Chara, and Asriel. But all the same, he couldn't. There was a person willing to take him in. He couldn't. But it almost seemed like Mikiru understood because of the look he gave him back right before being fully loaded into the car. And then it would be, well, the well-trodden path of My Hero Academia. Up until basically somewhere into the hero versus villains war arc. That's basically sense. What day is it? And a certain person would look over at the calendar and basically be like, "Welp, bud, didn't know this, but apparently you've gotten to 26 closer than we expected." And basically the person would be like, 26? Then it's time. Bro must be like 16. If I'm 26. That's how that works, right? Me being literally 10 fucking years older than him. What was his name again? Izuku? It's time that we put our plan into motion. Now, everyone, you remember you're assigned people. That's with air quotes. And everybody would be like, "Yeah, we do." And, my character would just be like, "Good. Now, we need all the magic that we can focus on to have a powerful enough attack to overload the systems here. Security and all. If we're going to break the fuck out. Fucking finally." And so they do. Boom. And just like ninja stealth, like, get the fuck out of there. Also with the use of a clever, shortcut. And basically, he's just trying to get the fuck out of there. Get the fuck out of Dodge. The war is at its ending point, yet Shigaraki still managed to somehow get away. He slipped away again. And, Mike here ends up basically slamming into somebody as he's, trying to get out of Dodge. And he's like, "Fuck, that hurt my head." And the other person will be like, "Oh, I just got out of the hospital." And then Shigaraki decides to run away. And then just hearing that name, Makira would be like, "No, he didn't. He did, didn't he? Son of a..." Never mind. Let's not anything cloud our vision. We have a true goal set in mind. We can't let anything get in our way. Not even this little distraction. And then just, shortcut out of there. There is one place he does go. There's like a door, and he's just like do 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 do. And there will be a person on the other side being like, wait, I remember that. I remember that. And this person would put on a glove and then grab the doorknob. And basically, whenever they would turn it and then open the door to see who was on the other side, they would basically hug, because it has been 10 fucking years since they last saw each other. Of course they would hug. Yep. Best friends till the end. Even through all this damn war. And then my character just basically brings up, oh, this is only just the surface level. This little hero versus villains war. What I'm about to do, this whole new world order of both quirks and magic, will be a next level. And they won't even know about it till it's too late. We have sown the seeds of change, both of us, in our own ways. Now it's time for us to get to watering, and then proper sunlight, and watch as they grow to something beautiful. An act of our divine justice. And, well, Tenko would just be like, well, that's my Mikiru. Always on about the theatrics. So you believe it can be done? Well, with the forces you have so far, and what little I've been able to maintain of what I used to have. Though, the way this is going so far, and the way the war ended, all for one, died again. And, my hero would just be like, I presume it was my brother this time. And, Tenko would be like, he would have no lies to tell his own best buddy. He'd be like, yes, you're 10 times your senior, basically 10 years your senior, little brother was the one to do it this time. I guess it's a passing on of the torch. First it's All Might, then it's your brother. And then, Makiru's, happiness would be replaced with unbridled anger and rage. Be like, so wait, that bastard is teaching my little brother. That's how he was able to do it. Oh, All Might, I will get you, and whenever I do, you will know true pain and suffering. People say that real suffering is not known. Well, All Might, you're about to be the first person to ever really, truly know it. whenever I get my hands on you. You not only almost ruined my life, but now I'm pretty sure you're close to getting your hands on ruining my brother's life. And that just will not do. Now will it, Tanko? And Tanko was just like, well, for all much of a fight that the kid did put up, and well, how annoying he could be at sometimes, if he's your brother, then guess can't be too mad at him. So yeah, we're gonna have to smack some sense into him before he becomes way too far gone. So yeah, exactly what did happen to you? What would you make you so salty about All Might? And Tanko would tell him, and, Tanko would look like he would want to kill every single last person on Earth. Because he knows that, well, my Kiryu would never lie to him because he has no freaking reason to. They're besties. So why would he lie to him about any of this? Yeah, that's right. He didn't. At all. He gave him the straight Garfax truth. And now Tanko is even more pissed. And basically, then my Kiryu would be like, and that is why we need forces on both sides to side with us. Quirk and magic. This side alone will not be enough. We need a full army. You see, many nations have fallen. Many kingdoms, many nations, what have you, have fallen due to the pretense that they could do it alone, that they needed no allies. No, I am better than that. I know what I need. That just this force alone won't be enough. We need to work alongside those that can be trusted. And so I've made myself here a list of those that I feel can be trusted to help us clean sweep this nation and soon this world. If we get lucky enough, that is. And, well, the first stop they basically go to is my Kiryu with, no longer Azrael, but Flowey. And Flowey will be like, I want to be Azrael again. And, well, my Kiryu would just be like, you can be Azrael after the end of this exercise. And, well, putting together an army instead of just a little skeleton crew that we had before. What, one kingdom under our belt? And it's barely even a kingdom. Once you consider the difference between human souls and monster souls. And well, Fire would have to agree with my Kiryu on that. So basically, Fire was like, so basically you're picking from both sides? And my Kiryu would be like, wrong, Flowey. Picking from the best of both sides. The best of both worlds, that is. those of the other side that would actually wish to join us in allegiance to stop the corruption and stop the hate. Reform this world by burning it with the flames in which it was created. Cleansing it with the fires of creation. And then, once salt the ashes, me always knowing myself to be the extra brain whenever it came to Tenko's lack of being able to tell what will happen next, well, I'll tell you what will happen next. Once the cleansing is done, our armies will march together as a force to rein in and keep the balance. From what has already been started. From there, the seeds will be sown. Add some water and some sun, and then all of a sudden, you have a sprawling empire that no nation, no powerful kingdom could ever defeat. Not even if they tried. It would be like getting gored by the horns of the Zulu on all sides, if you know what I mean. A true Waterloo Part 2, if you know what I mean. Certain death for our enemies. A complete and total victory for us. And Flowey would just be like, well, hot damn, count me in. And Mikey would be like, you're acting like I already haven't. Which is why we're at the detective's place. Sakauchi? Detective Namasa Sakauchi Namasa, hello? I'm basically someone, and basically, Makira would be like, hello, Mr. Detective. It's just me and my friend Flowey here. And, well, I just want you to watch this tape here and see if you can continue having the same opinion about your little friend All Might, since I know you to be, cop buddies and all. And basically, after dude watches the tape, he'd be like, I can't believe I was best friends with him. And basically, my Kira would be like, score. And basically, after news gets out of the true bastard that All Might really is, people are gonna be really after your ass, considering for so long you were, buddies with him. Who knows what you two could have been doing together? Well, at least that's what the mass populace will think. So, who knows who will try to, kill you as revenge. Or before you can do anything like what All Might did to me. like friend, like other friend, other side of the spectrum. So, as a way to protect you, two things. This kangaroo pouch around yourself, more or less around your torso, and my friend Flowey here in this flower pot. Put that in the kangaroo pouch. Flowey here will be the one to, take them out before they can take you out. So, I guess now we've come to an agreement, Mr. Detective. Basically, he'd just be like, yeah. Wait a second, I believe I know how to put this on. And he just put it on and put Flowey in the freaking pouch. And basically, he would go to, thank DSM. He would go to thank him, but he would just hear the word shortcut. And, DSM, not DSM, my Kiru. Fuck. My Kiru would be gone. And the dude would be like, damn, I really wanted to thank that guy. And Flowey would be like, you can thank him by actually getting something good done for once. And next thing we know, it's just flashback to a few moments ago. Izuku sees something that he never really paid attention to before. As well, he's actually able to go back to his home. He sees a room that he never really looked at, called Room and Renovations. And basically, you could swear he sees a lot of papers underneath the door to that room. And so he pulls them out. And from what Izuku's able to read, comes to his mother with questions. Enko basically having to give Izuku the freaking straight ass Carfax that, Izuku, honey, you were never an only child. You have an older brother. Well, exactly 10 years your senior, so 26, I believe, around this time. I'm so sorry, Izu. And so now cut to current times with, Enko now just in the living room reflecting on her current thoughts, Izuku's now out doing something. She doesn't really know what he's doing because he didn't tell her. And, that's not like him. To just go out at random. Then she just vocalizes it. She's like, why can't I be enough? Why can't I be strong enough? And then she just feels a fiery presence behind her. Here's a voice. If you wish, I can teach you. From a parenting standpoint, I understand your pain. Not being able to understand why all these terrible things are happening, and why is it your children? I sense that not long before Izuku actually got into those papers, you actually looked into some things yourself. And Inko just sit talking to this goat woman, just like, so, aka Toriel. Just basically like, yeah, but everything kept on turning out blank. And Toriel would just be like, well, then you would be glad to know that I have found the missing parts of those blanks. She would just drop some tapes and be like, I believe you know how to work a VCR. As I am not the best with technology myself. And so, Inko puts like the first tape in the VCR, and then basically watches through all of the other tapes as well. But she is like in tears throughout the entire thing, realizing that the main person that was doing this, because there were other people doing this, but the main person doing this was All Might. As if her baby boy, her firstborn son, was some hardened criminal. He had that smile on his face, as if he was just dealing with a hardened criminal. Though it couldn't be further from the truth. My Kira was a lovely boy. Even whenever he didn't have to, he always went to protect her from her own husband. He would never let that man touch her. No matter how much of the abuse he had to take for it. And well, not long after this, Inko had somehow managed to calm down a little bit, she would just be like, teach me how to be strong. And then we would cut to basically outside, as where basically Inko would be sparring with Toriel. And not long after, basically, we see an exhausted Inko and a slightly less exhausted Toriel. And Toriel being like, good, you're learning. Your sci-fi abilities are coming in very good and handy, but not good enough. Basically, she just appears with a sword to, her sword to Inko's throat, and then basically Inko appears to just be like a sci-fi illusion, and then basically with like this, like a sword made out of sci-fi, basically up to Toriel's neck from behind. I'm being like, say less, Toriel Sensei. say less. Though, I must say, arigato, Toriel-sensei. And basically, Toriel's like, I let my guard down for that one single moment. Single solitary moment. And she bested me. Even though she was so tired. Very well then. It seems that you have already learned all that I can teach you. And actually, if you look closer, you can see that Inko has seemed to, well, have lost most of her fat. So, back to skinny Inko. Yes, she really trained that hard. And, Toriel actually reminding Inko, don't exhaust yourself. Like, I don't want you slouching on your training, but still, don't exhaust yourself. Keep a healthy medium. And, Inko just giving her a look like, oh, you know me, Toriel-sensei, I'm probably not going to listen to either of those. And, whenever Toriel finally gets back to base, and she's like, ugh, keeping up that facade took a lot more out of me than I thought it would. Inko, you are far stronger than you believe yourself to be. Those fools who only take you for your quirk, they are the ones who know nothing. So yeah, basically Toriel had to train Inko out of her own depression and to a point in which she was basically back to skinny Inko form. And not only that, but kicked the friggin' ass so badly that, Toriel actually, she thinks she might need to take a little bit of a rest. After all, resting does heal all of your HP. And this is double proven because after Inko takes herself a rest, she seems to have all of her HP heal as well. And basically, seeing as Toriel has returned, next person being Papyrus, basically Keigo Takamai, also known as Hawks, well, gets a very sudden surprise whenever he just sees someone running in the middle of the air, or I guess Papyrus's version of flying, towards him and hugging him. He's like, hello there, I am the great Papyrus. And, Keigo would just be like, the fuck? Wait, this isn't a quirk. Does that make you like some sort of monster? And Papyrus would actually say, actually, yes, I am a monster. A skeleton monster. That can do this. And then just feels a sharp pain of a bone going through his frickin' leg. And then just hears Papyrus say, you're blue now. And then he just gets thrust to the floor. Bang! And, Keigo is like, the fuck? And Papyrus would be like, blue soul magic or gravity magic. Mine and my brother's version of it are different. he doesn't really need anything to help him with his. But it seems I do. And it basically seems that Papyrus only came here to really help, Keigo find a way to live his own best life, as his own person. Not a puppeteer of the, Hero Commission. To actually have some fun for a change. And, well, the final two things that they decided to do on their agenda. First, a race, and then a battle. Which Papyrus confuses it for a date, but is like, dating power maximum. Like freaking Broly. Not Super Broly, but like movie 8 Broly. And so Keigo's feeling a lot better about himself. And Papyrus is like, so are we friends? And Hawks would just fire back with, well, who wouldn't want to be friends with the great Papyrus? After all, I do believe you did say that you were popular. And, Papyrus and Keigo would just have a laugh. And, off to the side, basically, Maikiru and Tenko would basically just be looking at this, being like, and Tenko would just be like, so everything's going according to plan so far. And Maikiru would be like, yes. Operation The Worthy Ones is going good so far. And then basically, as Papyrus returns, he's basically like, brother, it's your turn. And, Sans would be like, well, I know. And then basically, shortcut. And basically, Shota Izawa, after just handing some thugs, like some quirked thugs, over to the police, gets surprised when, after the boys in blue leave, he sees another boy in blue. More like a skeleton boy in blue. Though not in the form of a police officer. In the form of Sans Skeleton. A good friend of mine, he thinks of Keigo Takamai, aka Hawks, as his favorite day hero. And, well, of you as his favorite night hero. And he still does now, even after everything. And Eraserhead would want, this Sans Skeleton guy to elaborate on what he meant by even after everything. And Sans would just be like, well, if you really want to know, these tapes would be useful. And then he'd just be like, shortcut. boom, out of there. And basically, after, well, Aizawa was done watching the tapes, he felt like he was gonna have a damn aneurysm. I have so much hatred for All Might right now. That bastard! Like, Aizawa was never directly involved with any of this, but, like, if he knew that this is what was going on, he would have tried to do at least something to stop it. And basically, as Aizawa was just kicking himself in, like, a freaking alleyway, and basically he just hears, "So, you finally caught on." And then he basically looks to see, like, Sans on top of a dumpster. And basically just like, to what a good old friend of mine had to suffer through for good old 10 years, I believe. That would make him 26. He was never guilty to begin with, and he was treated like a hardened criminal. And Aizawa would just be like, "So, you're looking for not just one avenue of getting revenge, but you're looking for people you can depend on from the inside of the enemy territory." Count me in, Sans Skeleton. Count me the fuck in. After what I just fucking witnessed. That bastard doing. Can't believe I actually thought we were ever friends. Not you, but All Might. And Sans was like, "The fact that you thought that I misconceptions about that is actually pretty funny, Eraser." And Eraserhead would just go to frickin', capture Scarf on Sans, but, he would shortcut out of there. And basically, Eraser would have just caught on like a freaking light pole, and his face would just go straight into the pole. Like, forward momentum-wise. And Sans will just reappear, back at, the place. And, it would look like Undine would be next. And, later we cut to a scene with Mitsuki basically going out and, telling her husband, Masaru, that's basically, she'll deal with this. Inko is, her friend from childhood, so she'll deal with this. She'd been hearing, weird noises from outside of, the Midoriya residence. It sounded enough like Inko, from what she could hear. From their house, at least. So, whenever she tried to go over there, and some spears were thrown at her, they didn't even look real. They looked like they were made of magic. But no, that's not possible. And then they just dissipate. And then fish lady just lands onto the ground where the spears were, and it creates a fucking crater. And then the lady is just holds up a spear, yeah! Undine. the Undying, the Spear of Justice. And basically, Mitsuki would be like, what the fuck? Basically, for Undying, all of this is just like a test of their skills. Because, Undying told, my Kiru that she will see if, this Mitsuki person is good enough to be a part of their resistance against the corrupt heroes. The effed up version of the hero society that they have today. She will see if this Mitsuki person is ready. And basically, after the glycerin woman herself, Mitsuki Bakugo, throw some hands with Undyne long enough. Basically, eye patch is off. And if you know about Kenpachi Zaraki, you know that once the eye patch goes off, it's like the scene with the lotion. It's like, puts the lotion on the skin or else it gets those again. But it's not like that. It's actually much worse. Because once that eye patch goes off, it's the same thing with, Undyne. It's like she's like Kenpachi 2.0. She channels into the Undying form and just goes AWOL, just goes A-ham. And, Mitsuki can find herself barely able to keep up. And that's right, barely able to keep up. As in, she can keep up, but just barely. And Undyne, noticing this, tries to press on the pressure. Keep it going. Boom, 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 dish, 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 dish. Keep pressing on the heat. Keep, upping the temperature. Seeing how far they can really take this. Or seeing if, this one will just be a rather boring training partner to have. However, Mitsuki can kind of tell what Undyne's all about now. So, she decides to do a little pressing on the temperature herself, in her own way. And in the end, well, basically, they're exhausted. Both of them are. Undyne out of her form. And, well, Mitsuki just exhausted. Period, point blank. End of discussion. And, well, Mitsuki just wants to know what the f*** was that? Because, well, it's just like she came out of nowhere and decided to just slaughter her. And it's almost like she has more in the tank than she does. So it's like, why are you not taking the chance? Why are you not killing me? If you have more in the tank. I can tell that you do. Why aren't you taking the chance? And, well, Undyne is like, well, lady, you got me entirely wrong. I came out here for, well, yeah, to have a good fight. That's always good, but my real role here was, and basically Undyne explains everything. And then Mitsuki just has this look on her face like, so that's what Inko was doing. Well then, you can count me in. And also you can count me in on, future spars. 'Cause that was fucking awesome. What we just did right there. All those explosions, that was so cool. And then Undyne just decides to remind Mitsuki that most of those were from her, actually. From Mitsuki because, glycerin. Basically, just like... And, some of them were from Undyne because of her ridiculously overpowered Undying form. And then basically later on, afterwards, Undyne would come back, but, well, she would look luckily worse for wear, but you could obviously tell that she went through a trek. But also made a new friend in the end. And so, some more in the shadow shots with Tanko and Maikiru. Basically, Tanko being like, so yes, it seems that this operation is truly going to make it through its opening stages. Opening phases of things to come. And, Maikiru is just like, are you kidding, buddy? This is great. If everything keeps on going up like this, then we really will have something. Chopping up a bit. Next thing you know, well, basically, Alphys and Metaton now finally managed to get back his EX form, but not using it yet because, well, he doesn't have to, and plus, if he just used it right away, it would consume all of his battery. So right now he is in his regular form, like his Satan calculator form. However, it seems like there's a dark presence following them. And he's like, oh, don't let me bother you, Alphys. Metaton. I'm just here to watch the show. Unless there is something I find that I am interested in, of course. And, Alphys would be like, of course, Dr. Gaster. And Metaton would be like, geez, Doc, why you gotta be so schizo around the other Doc? Oh, yes. And, well, it almost seems too easy to get to where they're supposed to go. So you're saying you're monsters and not just some quirked individuals. And Alphys will just be like, yes, Mr. Board Director of a Hero Association. I can assure you that, we are well worth your time. All of us are. Yes. And the dude just is like, not convinced. And then basically, Gaster would be like facepalming. Alphys, if you only had the self-esteem. And, well, Mettaton just hearing that from Gaster being like, self-esteem is her problem? Well, I couldn't possibly have guessed that. Just being really sarcastic to Gaster. Mettaton just really freaking sarcastic. And then it's just like, well, if it's our problem, then maybe I can make it something the exact opposite. And basically, Gaster would be like, where the fuck are you going on with this, Mettaton? And basically, you would realize Mettaton's not even there anymore. And the board of director of the Hero Association would be like, wait, where the fuck did the robot go? And basically, Mettaton would be walking somewhere and basically accidentally, bump against something that would turn his switch to EX. Accidentally, as in not accidentally, he meant to do that on purpose. And then you would just hear, oh yes. And then, and then just throw a mic into, like, Alphys' hand and be like, yes, as you can see, this is my, robot Mettaton. And Gaster's like, what is this, a box? And the box just says, open me. And, it's just like, not gonna question it. Leave that for Sans. And basically opens it, and out comes Naptiplook and Chiron. And Gaster's like, that cannot be possible. There is no way. That is way too small for them to both fit in there. Wait, one of them is a ghost, but Chiron should not be able to fit in there. And Naptiplook will be like, ghost monster, Dr. Gaster, ghost monster. Basically, Naptiplook and Chiron would basically, Naptiplook and Chiron would both basically go to Mettaton, and, they would kick off their badass song number. If you ever heard it. This little thing called Hard Drive. And I love that damn song. And basically everyone's so damn depressed that, not depressed, impressed. Not depressed, impressed. That they, honestly forget about Dr. Gaster being there, and, Gaster's like, oh shit, yeah, that's the plan. And, he just glides through the room, nobody noticing that he's doing this. And gets to a certain room, with some very important information that, well, if released to the people, would help them out a lot. And basically managed to weave himself himself back into his previous position without the board of director of the Hero Association or anyone else even noticing, except for Alphys, because, she isn't the one performing the badass song number. Alpha's just, has like a freaking watch and like, come on, Dr. Gaster, please, you can't be late. Like, for the date. And, Gaster would be like, what date? And, Alphas would just look and like, phew. Right on time, Dr. Gaster. Now, let's please get out of here. And basically, Mettaton's like, an escape? And Napstablook and Chiron just somehow get back into the box. And Mettaton EX basically just throws the box over to Gaster. He catches it, knowing that Alphys, considering the size of the box, would not be able to, run with this damn thing like he would be able to. Besides, even if he couldn't run with it, he'd probably just be able to shortcut while touching, Mettaton EX and, Alphys, and just teleport them out. So basically, they get the fuck out of Dodge. With very important records that are just going to be a home run score. And because of just who Gaster is, he's able to, distort the footage so that nobody sees him do it. And that nobody even notices that he was gone to begin with. And hell, he can even make it to where nobody even notices that he was there in the first place. So basically after this, we have someone who basically is trying to find the right words to say to someone else. And it's just like, Shoto, I know how you must feel. Everything. I know how it made me feel. And Shoto's like, no, Father, you don't know how I feel. And that's precisely the fact. And then just runs out of the house. And Fuyumi's about to, try and stop him. And Natsuo's like, no, don't, sister. Just don't. Don't even. Don't. And, Endeavor just goes into his own room and is just like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Fuyumi and Natsuo go doing their own outside, things they do, like their own jobs. And so it's just Endeavor in that freaking household mansion thing. Because, Ray's still in the mental institution. Or is she? No, actually, one of the first things done because of these records being leaked out is that Ray is no longer in the mental institution. And it's actually on the news currently. And Endeavor's like, what the fuck? And then he just feels a cold-bladed weapon up to his neck and just hears the words, now, must we use that language? Enji Todoroki. And just slightly turns his head around to see who the fuck is doing that. And is that a trident? Yes, that's right. Asgore. King of the monsters. So basically, Asgore just, he's just like, dum-dee-dum-dee-dum, just like, decides to have some tea with Endeavor. And basically, Endeavor is not having it. He's like, how the fuck did you even get in my house without me even hearing or seeing you? And well, basically the short answer that that freaking Endeavor gets from Asgore is like, everybody gets one. And basically what that means is basically he's telling Endeavor, without actually telling him, that basically Mike Hero shortcutted him in there and then shortcutted out himself. That's why, Angie couldn't hear a damn thing. Because he was teleported in there. But instead, dude just decides to play coy, seeing as, Endeavor's being an asshole, as usual. So Asgore actually decides to, for once, play coy. And just say, everybody gets one. As in, everybody gets one, shortcut. Which, he's not wrong. And so, finally, they're able to, chill, and so finally actually civilizedly, talk. So, yeah, no raising of the flames of Endeavor, and no trident to Endeavor's throat. Basically. Oh, and by the way, did I forget that Asgore, pre-made freaking golden flower tea? That's probably the only sign to basically tell Endeavor that somebody was in his house. Like the screaming of, the tea kettle thing. But then again, he was, in his own room, and, basically, it could have been, so far away that he didn't hear the tea kettle. Basically, Asgore tells, Endeavor that this is a different kind of tea. It's called golden flower tea. And he wants to know how he likes it. And, Endeavor's just like, not bad, Asgore. And Asgore's just like, But for some reason, people don't seem to like it whenever I try to make scones. So, as for your strained relationship with all of your family, and your reaction to hearing that your wife is out of that confinement, very barbaric confinement if you ask me. Anyways, you must understand, Angie Todoroki, that us monsters and humans must work together once more. And, just Angie gives him, a freaking weird look, wait, what do you mean once more? And basically, It's not like Asgore didn't expect to get this kind of reaction. He's just like, so you're another one of them. One who does not know of the story, or maybe probably hasn't heard about it in a while, so long that they don't remember. Well then, allow me to jog your memory, Angie Todoroki. A long time ago, once upon a time, a long time ago, there were two races, humans and monsters. Races lived together in harmony until one day, whenever that was not the case, war broke out in between the two races. It was believed that the cause was the humans' fear about the monster's ability to basically steal a human soul and become gods. Because with the power of a human and monster soul, that is possible. But off of that, basically, after the end of the war, the monsters had lost, the humans had won, and 7 of their strongest sorcerers and sorceresses had band together to seal the monsters deep underground with a strong and powerful barrier. And, well, as the king of my kind, basically he explains the entire story of fucking Undertale to Asgore. I mean, not Asgore. Fuck. Angie Todoroki. And basically the Endeavor's like, wait, I do believe I've heard this before. Yeah, he actually believes being told this story once before, whenever he was a child. At the time, he didn't really think it was true, but apparently now, living proof that it is true, right in front of him, the king of the monsters, Asgore Dreamer. And, well, living proof that he is actually a very peaceful being. Well, most of the time. And so, well, most of the rest of their time together is basically spent, chilling, basically. Full on Netflix and chill mode. 360 blaze it. So, yeah. Basically, when Asgore decides to tell, Endeavor, it's basically like, we are on the cusp of something great, though we are also in the belief that a hero association will not let it happen. So, we cannot stand idly by any longer. We must take a plan of action. I will not stop. No, don't worry. Yes, we got a cameo from Amanda. Good night. Night. Basically, Endeavor and Asgore basically discuss a plan of action because, Asgore's like, I will no longer stand idly by as we continue to suffer, even. There will be a new world order. However, I will not be the one to do it. There is another. The ultimate power play will be if he can persuade his younger brother to join. Then it will be checkmate for the other side, and our new world order will officially have begun. And everyone's like, well, shit, you got me interested. So yes, Asgore even returns with good news. Seems that Endeavor, even though he was one of the people that, did attack Maikiru was like, he's a troubled man, He might not have had all of his, chess pieces in the right order whenever he was doing this. So, giving Endeavor the benefit of the doubt. Not like a certain other person. Because he knows that shit from All Might was on purpose. He felt that shit from All Might being on purpose. For a whole lot of 10-something years. And so, now the time for action. The time for recruit numero Izuku Midoriya. And basically Tenko just says the most cryptic thing ever. But then again, with how stubborn the kid is in his beliefs, do you really think that he'll accept the offer? Even if he thinks that it's villainous to do so. To set such a damaging reset onto the reputation of someone he considers the ultimate symbol of peace. I think you're just going to need more than a few more tapes to truly convince your little bro to join us. And Maikiru's like, man, you really must think too little of me, Tenko. I already knew this and much, much, much more. It's always good to pre-plan ahead. basically, whenever Inko is out training, she gets a message on her phone. Apparently it's from the person who, like, all of the people, including, like, her Toriel sensei, are, like, working with. It's, like, basically, like, their master of some sorts. Like, from him. And, like, the message basically says, like, well, basically, Mom, I'm coming home. He plans to get his brother in with him in one of the most unorthodox of ways. And, you know, he even, like, asked if Tenko wanted to come along to see just what shit he could pull off. Like, getting away with. And so, eventually, one day, Izuku just is in his bed. And, you know, he's barely awake. And just hears the sound of his mother's voice on the other side of the door. And it's like, Izuku, your brother's here. And Izuku's like, wait, today is that day? Wait, I was told that guy that we hit each other. That was bro. And basically, whenever the two go to look at each other, you know, everything's good at first because, you know, good old hugs. And, you know, Midoriya crocodile tears because Inko's just loving the fact that the two of her sons can apparently get along so well already. Even though they barely ever knew each other before. And, well, basically after breakfast, Makiru's like, Izuku, can I talk to you in your room for a sec? And, you know, Inko is actually, if you want to, you know, go into your room, you know, and Izuku, you see the finished product, because I actually got finished making that. Just for you, sweetie. You know, Makiru. And Makiru's like, well, change of plans. We're going in my room. Apparently. And, well, Makiru's like, wow, holy shit, even better than the way I remembered it. Considering I'm 26 now. But I still have the same taste in heroes. Okay, go talk to my aunt, Shotaizawa. Say, Izuku, I know you must be hearing all this stuff about how All Might's a bad person because of some things that he apparently did. And that you're most likely not to believe that because of your own, well, beliefs when that's what you believe in. Well, I expected that. And Izuku would be like, wait, what? You expected what? Yeah, my hero had a little, you know, mirror force of his own. It's like, I'm going to play my trap card now. I expected as much, so did some digging. Oh, and look what the Hero Association seemed to have been hiding from every single last citizen of Japan. Wealthy or poor, regardless of their status, quirkless or with a quirk, villainous quirk or non-villainous quirk. Quirks, quirks, quirks. It's all about quirks these days. I don't have one, and I'm perfectly fine. Though, these are pretty good ones, so if you want to take a good peek, well, say the magic word. And Izuku's like, please. And, Makira's like, okay, I can never say no to you. And just lays out all sorts of notes. And this is only the tiniest bit underneath the skin level shit. The whole Heroes vs. Villains war was just the surface level. This is just getting beneath the skin. And no, not just the skin, Steven. No, that's not the kind of skin I'm talking about. The kind of skin I'm talking about is, well, my plan. Though, I'll save that for after you've feasted your eyes on all of this. What lay before you. Evidence that finally will prove to you that All Might is not the paragon of justice that he preaches himself to be, even after going off from hero work. Now, with this in mind, would you mind watching the tapes? I can perfectly insulate the room in just a few seconds so that nobody will be able to hear what goes on inside. So that Mom doesn't get traumatized. And Izuku's like, wait, what are you talking about? Basically just sets Izuku in a chair and just puts one of the tapes in and presses play. After having everything insulated. For good measure. And basically, after not only seeing the files, but now basically all of these tapes, Izuku is like, for so many freaking years, he has been led to believe one thing and one thing only. All Might's paragon of justicism and shit. And now this comes around, and just rocks his entire fucking world. His entire fucking existence. It's just turned to shambles. And then Makiro just drops the ultimate bomb. Now I will just leave you to your thoughts. After all, I think that might be exhausting for just about anyone. But first, I'm going to need to reorganize these files somewhere where they won't be able to be found. Oh, and do the same with the tapes. So, you can, in my bed, just take a little bit of a rest. I'll just tell Mom that you need to take a little bit of a breather after a little bit of a discussion we had. It was nothing bad, just, getting to know each other. Like the king and I, getting to know you, all that. Basically, Izuku is just basically after he wrote down all those names and started breathing all heavy and shit like he just ran a 5K. He's just like, yeah, that's all right with me. And basically, my hero was like, score. And basically, right as soon as he closes the door behind him, he calls up, Tenko. And basically it's just like, yo, Tenko, I think I might just have gotten the cat in the bag. If you know what I mean. Two-piece combo. Not just the tapes, but also the files that Alphys, Metaton, Napstablook, Shiren, and Gaster were able to get me. But for the most part, Gaster. Alphys were, for the most part, the setup. Metaton, Napstablook, and Shiren, the distraction, and, well, Gaster was the one to actually do the work. But they all played their part in the end. So, I'm gonna just go ahead and ask if I can have a friend over. And since you're my friend, that isn't false, right? And Dad's over in America, he can go f*** himself for all I care. So, yeah. Basically, yes, that does happen, actually. It's like, basically, someone's like, and, Inko's like, hello? And it opens, and it's like, oh, you must be, Mr. Tenko Shimura? And then, my Kira would just hear a voice say, Tenko is fine. Just Tenko is fine. And then my Kira would just whoosh, vomanus over to his own room and be like, yo, bro, I think you've had enough good beauty sleep in my own damn bed. And Izuku would be like, what the? It's time. And Izuku would be like, you mean? Yeah. After all, I wouldn't leave that thing right on my nightstand next to my bed, clearly open, if I didn't want you to read it while you were resting. Well, at least read through it. And Izuku's like, well, clearly you don't feel like you have anything to be embarrassed about in there then. Anyways, so you and him friends? And my character would just look at Izuku and be like, dude, why would I have invited him over if we weren't friends? And Izuku would be like, wait, what? You did what? And basically like, yeah, that's why you need to Vominews over here. Come on, get your party shoes on. And basically, just Mike here just taking the liberty of reintroducing these two to each other. Not as enemies, but basically as well. One of them being Mike Hero's friend, the other one being Mike Hero's, younger brother. And considering this is like the third punch, considering that this guy is literally his big brother's bestest of buddies, Izuku just has to do a freaking bajillion take right now because he just got rocked his world. Everything that he read in the diary. Everything is just rocking his world today. And so now he's just having to come to some sort of acceptance. And so sometime during, the little celebration, little party, there's a small little pulse of electricity that goes throughout, certain areas of, Japan. And basically, a message would appear on Mike Hero's phone. Basically, from everyone, and basically be like, we're ready. And, basically, Mike Hero would message back with, yeah, just let me get everyone else ready. Basically, it's guys, Mom, Tanko, Izuku, I think we're all just about ready to take some good old hard knock life to that of those who have oppressed for so long. The very existence of us being any more than the bottom of the barrel of what society will allow us to be. It is time for the new world order of quirks and magic to begin. And basically, this would be like the Battle of Helm's Deep, with how many people would be there. It would be like the freaking UA Sports Festival arena, because so many people would be drawn there because it would be the only place with leftover electricity, because every other place would be knocked out. So everybody would just huddle over to the freaking UA Sports Festival arena, into all the different things. What do you call them, rafters or whatever? And basically, they would all be there as well. Oh boy. Several different pro heroes will just jump out of nowhere and be like, fall back, get out of here. And then all of a sudden a bunch of monsters, and then the entire Midoriya family, and then the freaking Bakugos, and so not just the monsters, but the Midoriya family and like the Bakugos. Like, Katsuki would be freaking confused. And Masaru would have no idea why he was even being dragged out here by his own damn wife. It's just, she seemed really freaking excited, so he went with it. Basically, for everyone, it was time for them to prove themselves. To prove for the sounds of war. Or would there even need to be war? Could they solve this in a different light? Well, that would be seen within the first few minutes, as the lights will be turned on and would be seen 3 boys, Mikira Midoriya, Tenko Shimura, and little brother of Mikira Midoriya, Izuku Midoriya. Mikira would speak up first. People of Japan, you have celebrated your lives for so long, blind to what actually is around you. The precipice of a new age, a dawn of a new era. Something truly beautiful, and yet you are so blind as not to see it whenever it's right in front of your face. And then just hand over the mic to Tenko, basically. Tenko's like, people of Japan, you have been so blind as to disregard those less fortunate than others, and even to put titles upon those who deem less worthy of praise, like villainous or D-lister. When will you all learn? And then just hand over the microphone to Izuku finally. And All Might is just there in his Small Might form now, just hoping that Izuku does something to stop all of this. But like, why is he there with them, and why is he not stopping them? Until finally, the last crucial blow. People of Japan, this bigotry, this mockery of everything that made the world so great once upon a time, when humans and monsters could live together in harmony. Before the war, when there was peace. And now, after everything, even after the liberation of all the monsters from the underground. Everyone has seemed to have forgotten about that. How much that meant to everyone whenever their case was finally pleaded to those of the surface world, and they were allowed to be free. Truly free. And now you do this. This current hero society is a mockery of what had been able to be happen by just one human and their soul partner alone were able to accomplish the liberation of an entire monster kind. And you spit on their wishes. You burn it all down. Cover it up. As if it wasn't even there to begin with. The gall of you people to call yourself Japanese citizens. You even covered up the site of Mount Ebott. Now, it's just a mere pile of construction scrap that's too deep to even uncover. The mass is so strong and large that you will need every single last citizen with a quirk to fire attacks at it simultaneously without end in order to finally get rid of everything and uncover the beauty which was Mount Ebott once more. But that would cause mass genocide of the Japanese populace. That could not be allowed to happen. So, you apparently have no care for what used to be a landmark of what once was. You have no care for what used to be a thriving unity in between humans and monsters. Once more. Damn you all who still practice this jibber jabber, this nonsense. This is not beyond Plus Ultra. Damn Plus Ultra. Because as far as I'm concerned, if this, what my little brother went through for all but 10 years, if what he went through is what the users would have wanted, then damn one for all I care. Actually, not his little brother, his big brother. Anyways, he's just like, as you can see, clearly see, or at least clearly tell, we aren't having it anymore. Either Japan changes for the better, or we make it change for the better. One way or the other, things will change for the better. And you know, all the monsters and even some humans are rallying up behind, all three of their speeches, you know, they never believe they actually have so much positive support. They actually see that most of, if not all of the freaking entirety of the, freaking stands that are filled with people, every single person seems to be freaking cheering them on. Yeah, they just positive, reputation up through the roof. And now the New World Order can truly begin. With 3 true positions of power that will take down that of the Hero Association, that had basically been so criminal to so many people. Hawk's gonna really want to get a real good one in for all the trouble, all the shit he had to go through during his childhood, if you could even call that a childhood. But Papyrus saying that only if he let him do a double team attack with him. And so they did, killing the basically top dog of the Hero Administration. Basically making it to where they could really never exist again before being snuffed out. And well, with these 3 new positions of power, not only is the Hero Administration basically kaput, but basically the whole entire citizenship of Japan is basically well, then who is going to protect us? And basically the big answer to that is, well, the actual fucking heroes. The people that basically won't, have to, need to be promised a paycheck in order to, do what a hero would do. I mean, the paycheck is nice and all, but you don't need a paycheck in order to, do a hero's work. The actual fucking heroes. Basically, these people would be known as the Hero Assembly. Or, the Hero Elect Assembly. Basically, before a Hero Assembly could be formed, it would be known as the Hero Elect Assembly. And, this would kind of be like a presidential thing, like, every time, they would need a new one, it would always go Hero Elect Assembly before it would go to Hero Assembly. And the person in charge of the Hero Assembly / Hero Elect Assembly which the Hero Elect Assembly is basically in charge of who becomes a member of the Hero Assembly. For that certain, time period. Basically, the person in charge of that would be Izuku. Because, he's all about heroes, so why not have him be in charge of the Hero, Elect Assembly and the Hero Assembly? Both of those things. And, well, as for other stuff, well, basically the dignitarial and economicarial source. Basically, what the dignitarial and economicarial source is, basically, that is the person, basically the source is, well, the person who runs that. And in that case, the source would be Tenko, because he decides that basically dignitary and economics. Simple enough, to figure out. Dignitary economics. Dignitarial economical, dignitary economics. So basically in charge of the dignitary stuff and the economic stuff to do with this whole new reign of the New World Order of quirks and magic. And considering basically this guy's power pours into magic, my cure would basically be Basically, seeing as this was his idea to begin with, and well, I mean, most of the beginning people, as in the monsters, and, Frisk and Chara, basically most of the beginning people came from him. Like, Kira would kind of be like a next-gen emperor of sorts, but not really in an emperor sense. This would be like kind of like a new way of like doing things, like instead of an emperor or king or a daimyo of sorts. Well, actually, let's have them have different leadership roles. If Emperor is still going to be the leadership role, or at least the highest one, let him be Emperor, and Asgore still have some sense of him still being king. And, Toriel eventually, she finally gets over it, and, they get together again, finally, and she becomes queen. King and Queen of Japan. So basically, Mike Hero assuming the main leadership role. And Tanko, taking care of most of the economic and delegative, stuff. And basically, Izuku's whole thing is like some sort of program-ish thing to where, like, get heroes that they don't need, like, this thing, like, they have to paycheck in order to be a hero. Get heroes that are a hero because they want to be a hero. Basically running a type of organization like that. So there's like the 3 pillars of this New World Order. And why is it economics and delegative stuff that are the 2 biggest ones that, Tanko would be worrying about? Are economics and delegative stuff? Well, obviously, you have to worry about the economy somehow. Especially now that you basically created a whole new world fucking order. And, well, delegates, well, consider the power plays that other people might try to do, like other entire freaking nations might try to do in order to gain your favor. Tanko can help organize that shit and make sure none of this bullshit passes. comes to pass. So yeah, with all of that done, I guess adasses. Fuck, why does it keep on slipping?